Welcome back to Recall the Midwife. I'm Becky.
I'm Alex.
I'm Jen. And just a quick a reminder that this week's episode deals with a few traumatic birth stories. So if that is a topic that you would prefer to skip this time, we understand and hope you join us for the next one. Just a quick synopsis. In this week's episode, Fred's daughter Dolly, heavily pregnant and with her young son in tow, come to visit Poplar. Dolly is near her due date, and when Chummy notices her swelled ankles and Dolly complains of a headache, a diagnosis of toxemia is given. Dolly is put on bed rest, and Fred is charged with taking care of his grandson with humorous results. Dolly delivers a healthy baby girl, and Fred dispenses some wise parenting advice to Chummy, just before she goes into labor herself. Chummy starts off normally at Nonnatus House with everyone surrounding to help, but a serious hemorrhage sends her to the hospital, and a night of anxious anticipation for Peter and all the women begins. Happily, Chummy delivers a healthy baby boy and recovers fully. We also see Jimmy return to Poplar, this time with a friend, Alec Jesmond, and assessment equipment in tow. The men let slip that Nonnatus House is due for demolition, and Alec works hard to get Jenny's attention. They end up going on a date, and Jimmy's encouragement to Jenny to be happy helps this along. Last but never least, Sister Bernadette has gotten a clean bill of health and is allowed to leave the sanitarium. She lets Sister Julianne know she will not be returning as a nun, and plans are put in motion to release her from religious life. As she is preparing to leave, Sister Bernadette calls Dr. Turner and they reveal their feelings for each other. When he goes to pick her up, they have an emotional moment. Sister Bernadette is now Sheila and Dr. Turner, Patrick. It's in the clinic that they take an even bigger step, getting engaged. So, girls, I can't even contain myself. I actually thought to myself just a minute ago, dare I say it, but this is an episode where like nothing terribly tragic or existentially horrible happens to anyone. Is that
Yeah,
even
but it's
possible?
also so like pivotal in like so many storylines as well. Like it's literally ridiculous how many storylines all kind of get happening at once. Like,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
them getting engaged. Like it was, but it all moved really quickly as well.
Yes. Yes. Like
Which,
so many
They
things.
did blow into a frog's bum.
which one should we talk about first?
Oh, well, should we just kind of go, so we can kind of keep ramping it up in terms of things, like maybe do Fred and his daughter, then Jimmy, Jenny, then Chummy, and then Sister Bernadette,
Finish
Dr.
with
Turner.
Yeah.
Bernadette.
Like
Well, I
end
think
on
we
a
should
really
do
high note.
Dolly. I think Dolly is kind of intertwined with Chummy as well, though. So let's do Dolly and Chummy kind of at the
Oh,
same time.
yes, yes.
I love the bit where Fred took Dolly to the clinic and he wore his best suit, even
Oh
though he
my
knows everybody there.
I've got that
Mhm.
written down, but it's like, but also my favorite part was when she first got there and she was in like this van, and he was like, "How did you afford that?" And she was like, "Oh, I rented it, Dad." But then they were like, "Baby, it's 5 hours it's taken. She's pregnant." They have a lovely chat for ages outside rather than like go and get the baby from the boot who's just sat there crying.
And by
No
the
car
way,
seat.
yeah, this baby has just been tumbling around that back of the van for 5 hours, just like boop, 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 like flinging across like a little pinball machine, probably. Also, she said she had to go to the bathroom so bad, but she didn't even go in to go to the bathroom, which made me laugh.
I know.
Oh wait, also another hilarious moment was when after Dolly goes into the hospital, Fred is taking care of the little boy and he comes in and she gives the grandson, her little son, a hug. And she's like, "Oh, Dad, what's that smell?" She's like, and he says a name, I don't know what the name is or whatever, but it's a shampoo. It's like hair
Silver
shampoo,
Crin.
Silvacrin, and he washed the whole baby in hair shampoo, which oh my god, just really had me going. Like
I love the
technically
fact,
not wrong, but just so oh man.
I mean, Fred was really good with the baby considering he had to look after him, but he
Yeah.
also held him at arm's length the whole time.
Well,
But
did you see the look on his
I think that was quite
did you
like
see the look
telling
on his
them.
face? Yeah, yeah.
My dad was like that
And
when
the look
Bob
on
was
his
a
face.
tiny baby. He just never wanted to hold her. And when he did, he just looked really uncomfortable. And like she was just like,
And then when he when that part where he was holding the baby and he like put his hand on the bum and he realized it was wet and you could just see and he was just like what do I do with this now? Like who can I pass this off to? And he realized he was gonna have to change a diaper, which so funny. So funny. But on a more heartening note, Dolly gives birth. Oh, actually, wait, this is one more funny thing. So Dolly gives birth, the baby comes out, Chummy's holding it, and she's like, "Oh, Fred, would you like to meet your new grandson or new grandchild?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then he holds the baby. He's like, "Oh, what a little bruiser. Look at that face, like battling all days long, like that whole thing." And then she's like, "Yeah, it's actually a little girl." And he's like, "Oh." And she's like, they just had a bit of a difficult birth, and she looks kind of banged up right now, but that'll all go away in like a day.
Like a little swelling around the eyes is normal.
Yes, exactly.
It is. I'm not gonna lie. Ugh. Anyway, we've missed another bit as well. When Dolly, so basically Dolly comes and she's got not preeclampsia. What's she got?
Toxemia.
Toxemia. Well done, ladies. But she's like, they're crying because she's got going to hospital and like lie down. Like, I honestly watched it last night really tired. I thought, you know what? I would love that. I would love to just lie down in hospital for a week and just have my daughter like at the window for 10 minutes waving back to me. I'd be like, do you know what? Don't cry. And then she's there singing Catching Falling Star, like crying, Catching Falling Star. But the thing about this storyline was it was very what's the word? It was all intertwined with Chummy's because obviously Chummy was there for her birth.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously her birth actually went quite well considering she had toxemia and a splitted head. Oh, we've got a splitted headache. And also, can I just say, she spoke about pies. What has she done, Bex, with the kidneys or the what was she said she was doing something with the.
She made a steak and kidney pie.
Yeah, but she was like, I've squeezed the tubings or something. I thought you'd know that. Don't worry.
She said something that like she made an alteration to the recipe because she didn't have enough kidney, but I don't now remember what she said she did to the pie. So sorry.
Right.
So when she came in, basically she came in to drop a pie off to Fred, and so we fast forwarded a lot. So she came in to drop a pie to Fred. And she was wearing her slippers because her feet were massive. And to be fair, we all go like that anyway. I go like that. I'm not pregnant. But she was just like, oh, Anthony must have been outside because she was just on her own. You know what I mean? Like they leave him outside the pram.
Oh, she literally rolled up and just like swung the pram into the corner, like it was an empty grocery cart where you like just like push it really hard to roll it back into the little thing. Like that's what she did with her baby.
Chummy and Fred are doing like the scouts or whatever, cubs. And he's all like, oh, yeah, I forgot my pet lunch or whatever. And she's like, here you go. Oh, you'd forget your head if it wasn't tied. Anyway, she's like, oh, Chummy's like, oh, excuse me, Dolly. Has that been long? And she's like, oh, yeah, just for a little bit. She's like, I just want to test your pee. And she's like, oh, but in a good cup, a good china cup. Anyway, so she's like, oh, got a head as well. And Chummy's looking really, really worried. But then did you notice how Dolly was like sat down? I don't think she's supposed to be the brightest because she just sat there dead happy, like looking at her like, and Chummy's there boiling her piss, being like, oh, I think something might be wrong, Dr. Turner. And she goes to Dr. Turner, and her face is still like, oh yeah, everything's great. Like she hadn't noticed anything was wrong.
I didn't notice.
No, I agree with you. She's got the same kind of generally happy-go-lucky attitude as her dad, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, but actually, along with Dolly, but to your point about how the two storylines are so intertwined, and I thought about this after I'd watched the episode because we always talk about how good the writing is and just have to give this call out to the writing. And I didn't put this together until later, but this just shows Chummy is painting or doing the crib with Peter. They're like sitting there painting the crib, and she's talking about how she just got a letter from her mother that says, oh, I'm on my way to Papua New Guinea or something, some new place or whatever. And she's like, I know she's always kind of been like not really around, but at the same time, like, I'm about to give birth, like I'm having all these feelings about being a parent and all that kind of stuff like that. And I just kind of didn't think I would be like really just so alone basically in this process. And she's got people she loves, but it's like her immediate family is what she's talking about. And Peter, I hate to say a word against Peter, but he was kind of like, well, anyways, sorry, like also, by the way, you missed a spot. And I was just like, okay, you're whatever. You're not really being
He's always
here.
Like that. He just does what she wants. He's not any character. He's just a doormat.
In this episode, though, considering it's the birth of his son, he is quite...
Yeah.
here episode.
Yeah, he kind of
the bit when he was in the corridor. But so hang on, we fast forward.
Anyways, so let me just finish this. So she says that about family, right? She's like, and she's worried about being a good mom. She doesn't know how to be a good mom. Da da da. Well, anyways, fast forward. Fred is holding the little baby girl, and he says, like when I grew up, I had basically a really tough family and a father that didn't really provide for me, and so I said to myself, I'm going to give my girls, my kids, whoever I have, like shoe leather, food to eat every day, a house, like my loving attention. I'm going to be a really good dad. And Chummy says, oh yeah, and he says, what I realized is that parenting is about proximity. And as long as you're there, a lot of other stuff isn't as important as you like really being there for your kids, like
and the security of them knowing.
Yeah, exactly. And that was Chummy's exact issue that she was working out for herself. That was exactly what she was talking about in that scene with the crib. And you could see in her face when she's listening to that it really clicked. And so just the way that like she, like the writing of the show, like both asked a question and then answered it, but in this really beautiful way.
Also, I love the way he said proximity. He said it really weirdly and I loved it. But hang on, I feel like we've fast forwarded a lot there, but that was the most beautiful scene. I totally cried on that scene because it was just gorgeous. The way he even said it, like it was just gorgeous.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about the first scene in it when Cynthia and who is it? Cynthia,
Jenny and Chummy.
Is it Jenny and Chummy? They're washing all of Cynthia's old baby clothes, and they're like there with all the 1950s stuff, and like they're talking about the fact that Cynthia's mum's like had these for ages, and obviously, saying that she's probably only 22 or something, isn't she? But they're talking about the cleaning of all these clothes, and it's all lovely. But then there's like, this mother of pearl buttons. They're from my mother's wedding dress, and just as she does it, Chummy puts it through the mangler. Now
Crunch.
I don't want to say. Yeah, but I don't want to say a name on this podcast because she'll be inundated. But do you remember our friend from uni saying that her mum still used a mangler at home?
Wait a minute.
And I was like, what do you mean still used a mangler? Like, who uses a mangler? It's like, we went to uni in like 99. Sorry.
You're gonna have to tell me off air who that was. I totally forget that.
You remember Bex?
No.
I just remember thinking, what? Well, you're gonna be like, what? And then you'll be like, oh, okay. Anyway, I thought that'd be a really good talking point, wasn't it?
We've joked a lot about the fact that we're literally like 100 years old, so maybe it wasn't that weird that some of our mothers used a mangler to like clean their clothes. So,
yeah, but I honestly don't even think many people did. My parents didn't know.
Well, what I thought of when she did that was I was like, Chummy, my babes, like it's a sweater, okay? Like it's just, if it's wet, just like twist it a little bit, and then you have to lay it flat anyway because you're dealing with all wool and stuff. It's like they don't have a tumble dry. Like just rinse it.
Well, you think she'd know that after being in the? You think she'd know that after being at the Royal School of Needlework, or whatever it was, and also Jimmy was in the airing cupboard or whatever it was.
But also, she didn't seem very concerned about getting stuff ready for the baby, considering she's a midwife who kind of works with expectant mothers every day.
She kind of did explain that, though, in her existential crisis. By the way, I was exactly the same. We're not ready for this. How are we going to do this? What's going to happen? I don't know how to be a parent. What we got? I was exactly the same. And to be fair, after a while of me going on about it like that, John was a bit like, my husband was a bit like Peter. He's a bit like, yeah, you'll be fine, don't worry. Like, shut up, I'm sick of hearing it.
I don't know anybody who like really, really does everything, gets ready for the first baby. I feel like everyone, when they have their first one, is just like totally.
Actually, do you remember there's somebody we know, and I'll mention the name of her, but their sister had a baby and her mum was like, right, we'll get the stuff ready for the baby, because she had the baby quite young. And she was like, right, I've got this list of stuff we need to buy. And she was like, we need 3 baby grows. And this person thought she just needed 3 baby grows in life. And her mum was like, no, this is literally what's going in the hospital bag. You need more than this.
I had 5 in the hospital bag and she was sick on every single one. I had to like borrow off people. It was awful. Also, right, back onto, we call the midwife, whatever it is. Poor Peter living in that bloody nunnery. Like he's there. And like, I just was like, oh my goodness. I
did feel awkward, like so awkward just staying with all those women, but also put the toilet seat down.
Yes. Also, like he was like, oh, someone's been in the bathroom for a while. Okay, I just cannot believe there's only one bathroom, first off. Second off, like, yes, someone isn't, if like taking a bath takes time. This is one, I don't like baths, but like taking a bath takes like at least a half an hour to 45 minutes because you have to fill the whole, I mean, he was like, oh, someone's been in there a long time, like it was a bad thing, like they, had some kind of like bowel issue or whatever. It's like, no, just someone went in there to take a bath. And Sister Evangelina was exactly right, and so hilarious when she like dressed them down in the last 33 seconds she had before compliments started in silence. And then when Chummy is like, well, and she's like, nope. She silences them. It was so good.
I felt for Chummy as well because she's like caught in the middle and heavily pregnant, and that existential crisis is obviously not helping. Like, so anyway, so she goes. So obviously, one other thing that was amazing, by the way, when Dr. Turner's called for with they're blowing the air into the frogs' bums for the cubs and stuff, and Dr. Turner's there. And anyway, they have to go to the doctor, they have to go to hospital, and he's like, I'll take her. And Timothy again, it's like, what about me?
He says to Timothy, you just help clear up. No thought of what he's going to do after he's helped clear up, where he's going to go.
No.
Turner's going to find him again.
Yeah. And Timothy is actually like, he's hilarious many, many times in this episode. He actually was really like doing a lot of work in this episode. But the line that like both like kind of had me like, I was kind of smiling, but then I also really was like, oh wow, when someone says something deceptively revealing about them, like they say, they make a comment that seems very offhand, but if you thought about it, you're like, oh wow, like you're really like giving us like a big window into you. But like when Tim is like sweeping the parish hall and someone says something to him about it, and he says, oh yeah, my dad always said to me, you never know, you might be alone one day and you have to learn how to take care of yourself. And I just thought, oh Tim, oh my gosh, I mean, like Dr. Turner's not wrong, and like you understand
wrong
why
because you say one day he's alone every flipping night, like.
That's why I've literally made that note. He's on his own now. He doesn't need to prepare for later life. He's on his own now.
Well, and Dr. I mean, like, look, we all love Dr. Turner, but he's like, he's acting like he still has another parent that's going to be taking care of this child. Like, I mean, not to spoil anything, but like, thank God he got engaged 5 seconds after, Sister Bernadette got out of the sanitarium, because I mean, my Lord, that man needs a wife so bad. No one has ever needed one more.
Right, now let's stick to the Chummy thing now. Let's go back on. So basically, Chummy helps Jenny Lee deliver Dolly's baby, and everyone's you think that's going to be the scary birth story,
right?
Because she's got toxemia, but actually it all turns out well. She has a bruised little girl, and she's a gorgeous little thing that she called Samantha. I like that. It's a very
modern name.
Yeah, I love that. But then Chummy's all like, while the labour's going on, and then she says to Jenny Lee, I'm just getting caught up in the excitement. What? Like, as if anyone's going to be like, oh yeah,
insane,
exciting. So anyway, so then she starts going to labour, and they're all like bustling around Jane, throwing towels up the stairs. Like
they're making jokes about enemas and everything.
Oh yeah, well, Sister Evangelina was gleefully doing the enema stuff with joy. She was just like, oh, hi hat and a hell of a lot. She was like, if you don't do it, I will. But where was Jane in this episode, by the way? She was hardly in it, that upset.
Well, she's about to disappear into the ether, very quick, so.
Well, no, but I did love Jane when they went to the nightclub.
Oh, same. But again, we'll go on that in a second.
I know, we have to wrap up Chummy quick, because we got so much else to cover.
I have to say about Chummy, because obviously she has, what did she have? Something placental abruption.
Abruption, yes.
If that was any other mother, they would have been like, come on, we need to get this baby out. They would have basically forced her to keep pushing. Whereas they just seem to...
Oh, no, you can't force them to keep pushing. She needed a cesarean, didn't she?
Oh, okay. Well, that's what I was wondering. I was like, are they gonna? How is this gonna? They were really vague about how
she went into surgery. No, she went into surgery. They have to have a cesarean for that.
Okay.
So it basically means that there's no way she could have given birth. There's no way she could have given birth naturally.
Yeah.
So poor Peter was waiting downstairs and getting told off by Sister Evangelina while all this was going on. So then they basically like, come on, Chummy, let's turn you around or whatever. And then literally find all this blood everywhere and the panic. Can I just say, when I first watched this, I was just like, what? How are you doing this to us? Because this was obviously supposed to be the happy birth. We just had toxemia. We were all, that was the worrying one. This wasn't supposed to be. So the shock. Then Jenny Lee rings the hospital. They're all crying, every single one of them. I'm a bit like, just calm down in front of Chummy. And then Sister Evangelina being upset absolutely killed me. I just burst into tears.
Oh my god. Don't get me started when she almost went into the ambulance and then she was like, wait, no, Peter wants to go, and like if only one of us can go, I guess I do have to let him be the one, because she was so ready to like.
I'd be in the ambulance. I'd be like,
you would.
Well,
you're only married to him.
Yeah, I'd want Sister Evangelina more than my husband, to be honest with you. It shouldn't matter. I'm not even married, but that's what my choice would be. Yeah.
I am, and I would.
Well, yeah, we know your husband, so.
Oh!
That's a joke, obviously.
But yeah, so obviously they're all really worried. They go off to hospital and they're all just sat there waiting, and they're like discussing like the fact that they've seen loads of families do this before. They've never actually waited themselves like this.
That's what Sister Evangelina says. She's like, now I understand.
Exactly. And then they were talking about how I think it was Trixie saying, we don't have the number for Medea, we don't have the number for her family.
Cynthia said that.
Oh, right. And then Jenny's like, yes, they do. Chummy's family is here right in this room. And it was like a really lovely, poignant moment.
That's when I started really going.
What did they do then?
They knitted that blanket all night long.
Again, sewing, you see. Sewing's a common theme for showing love.
It is.
Also, when they turned up at the hospital, like we would have turned up with that in a bag for life. Whereas they turned up in a beautifully, I know it was the 50s, they didn't have a Tesco bag for life, but
I like an Aldi one. It's just the foil wrapping inside.
So just a word, Tesco and Aldi are grocery stores. So you're just like showing up with like a plastic shopping bag that you'd like put a gallon of milk in.
Oh, sorry, like Target or Walmart.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
But just the way they turned up with a brown paper package, just lovely.
Tied up in string.
Well, and Jenny and Sister Julian putting that blanket over her. I mean, again, just the tears were like.
Well, just before that, Peter crying in the corridor, like you don't know what's happened, and he's crying in the corridor, so you think he's been told, like.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, and when Sister Julian put the baby in Chummy's arms and she woke up and put her hand, oh my gosh.
And then he was like, Camilla, and I always forget she's called Camilla because I always think Chummy. And he's like, Camilla, we've got a little boy. And then she opened her eyes and said, hello, little baby. And I cried my heart out.
Oh, thank God it all worked out. Oh, and actually, Chummy was wearing her wedding outfit when they went to the baptism. I don't know if anybody else noticed that, but I noticed it.
Oh, I didn't notice, but I did love that they had a joint christening with Dolly.
Yeah. And Becky, do you want to reveal what the baby was called?
She named him Fred.
Which past listeners will note that Trixie slagged off quite recently when they were naming baby Raymond Nonnatus. She was like, Fred? No one calls that baby Fred anymore. Well, Chummy does. So she
And she named him after Fred Buckle because of that amazing
proximity.
Yeah, he showed her how to be a good parent. Yeah.
Not Brown. What's her name now? Nurse Noakes.
Nurse Noakes. Okay, I love the storyline, but we have so much left to talk about.
We need to talk about Alex Jesmond first, and then Bernadette.
Yes.
He's a bit of a creep when he first turns up. Like he's all smiling, going, pretty nurses. It was weird.
But I have to shout out Trixie, who immediately referred to the theodolite.
That I was like, you're speaking Greek to me, girl. I didn't know. I mean, I knew what she was referencing because of that she looked at it, but like, I wouldn't have even had any clue what that thing was.
No,
but I loved because they go on a date. Well, Jamie sets it up. Jamie?
Well, first off though, he goes to fix the scooter, doesn't he? And he asks her out.
Yeah.
As if someone that posh could fix a scooter. I'm sorry. He went to bloody rugby or something.
Well, no, he learned how to when he lived in Rome for a while. Ugh.
Well, that just shows it. Anyway.
Did anyone else think when Jenny is talking to Jimmy about the baby and Jimmy says it turned out more all right than I dared hope? Do you think Jenny looked a bit disappointed that it all worked out well?
Yeah, yes, definitely. Well, I wouldn't say that, but I just felt like she was kind of like, like even like I have to go back to the whole like if you like ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend vibes, because it was almost like even if you see your ex-boyfriend and like you dumped him and like you didn't want to be with him anymore like that, if you see him like happy and in a new relationship first and like genuinely happy, you're like, wait a minute, you know what I mean? Like,
well, she was really awkward. She was like, nursing's becoming the thing that means most to me. Like, she was really awkward. I know it was supposed to show the awkwardness between them, and I know nursing is really important to her, but it was the way she said it. It was a very awkward scene, and I know they did that because it was being awkward and stuff. But also, can I just say the bit where Alec was like riding around on the scooter, and she was riding around on her bike, and he was like, I won't give up. Like, all right, sex pest, #MeToo movement. Like,
well, and when he says, like, he's like, oh, I really want to get you to go on a date with me, but like, I'll settle for a smile. And I just had in my notes something about like, just, it is eternally creepy for men to just force women to smile because they want to see a pretty face or like a sweet face or like like a lovely. I was just like, and the thing is, again, this is where it was totally not like. I was like, this is the kind of storyline, and again, nothing to the writers of Call The Midwife because we love them all, but like, this is exactly the kind of behavior that gets women into so much trouble because it's like you literally say, no, I'm not interested to a guy, and then it's like, oh no, I just have to keep going. I just have to keep asking you again. I just have to keep showing up where you are. I have to get my friend to get you to go to a thing that I'm at, and then and it's just like, no, just take no for an answer. That's all you have to do. Like,
but I think, well, I think he's being schooled by Jimmy on this. Because she came round too late to the fact that she liked Jimmy. So I think Jimmy's like, no, she's gonna be resistant to this. We need to just go in hard.
Well, Jimmy can't take a hint either. But the thing is, Jimmy can't take a hint either because he was the exact same with her like a year ago, basically. He was like,
but then she realised too late.
But also, Jen, you are correct. But the writers have decided that Jenny needs to just absolutely give in to this sex pest behaviour. She does need to chill out and be like, she does need to live a life and realise that nursing's not the be all and end all of everything she wants. And don't get me wrong, it's an amazing vocation. But like, she does need to go out and live a life, and she is young, and can I just also say, so then they went to the dance and they had a big dance together, and she finally was like thawing towards him and stuff, and he was
also Trixie's face when she sees them dancing. She's like, oh,
so good. Yeah, that was so good.
It reminds me a lot of you. But no, do you know what else got me? The how quiet it was at night, first off, but also their star knowledge. I felt so thick. They knew everything about stars, and they've not got Google. I was like properly like, they were saying, oh yes, what's that? And you'd pass the Raymond, and I was like, come on, I don't know any of this.
Well, wait, what was the thing that they were actually talking about? Because they mentioned some constellation like the Roman Cup or something like that, and I was like, I've literally never heard of that. Is it like a thing where like different geographical zones have like different, like you can see different parts of the night sky?
No, because you have summer star constellations and you have winter, but I think we all have the same. But
they might have different names in the UK to
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and I'll like tell this on my own country. Like, you guys will often keep like a really fancy formal name for something, and we'll call it like, like the green squab or you know what I mean? Like, you guys like Jenny would say like the Pleiades, and we'd be like, oh, the three sisters, or just like the dumber version of it, just to get the gist across. Like, we Americans do kind of dumb things down a little bit more than y'all do.
We did not say that, American listeners.
I know. Listen, British people do their own nonsense, but I'm just owning up to my own cultural ways. So
anyway, it made me feel really thick. But also, Alec let slip about the demolition.
Oh
yeah, that was unprofessional.
Also, I tell you what, it was really lovely at the end of this like kind of storyline. So we'll skip loads of stuff, but basically, because we're going to talk about Bernadette. But at the end, Jimmy sends a postcard being like, "Oh, be happy with Jimmy," and it was the picture of them two smiling, and I thought that was so lovely, and it was good advice.
It was really nice. Jimmy's also a good guy.
Is Alex bought that bike now? Because he was just on the end of it going on.
Yeah, like, they just went on a date on it.
Yeah,
I was like, have you asked permission from the?
Well, yeah, at the start of last episode, Sister Julianne was like, it's not to go on holiday. Well, apparently it is, to random men who don't even own it.
I mean, I thought it was weird that Jenny opened her letter and then left it out in public. Like, I was like, anyone could come and look at that stack of mail and see what was in there. I mean, I don't know.
But I think it's symbolic that she's putting Jimmy to one side.
Yes. Oh. And also, they're nuns. Like, surely they should have some kind of code of ethics. Think,
well, Trixie lives there too.
Well, that their code of ethics is questionable because they're okay with incest.
You girls. Yeah. My goodness.
Right, let's go on to the main thing, Bernadette now, right?
Okay.
Now, right, can I just, I've written down here, Sister Monica Joan taking the effing cake. So, Sister Julianne goes to visit, literally taking the cake, So Sister Julienne goes to visit Sister Bernadette. Well, just Bernadette. No, not the name's not even Bernadette now, is it? It's Sheila. She's gone to visit Sheila in the sanatorium, and she says she doesn't feel able to wear the habit. Sister Julienne's face when she said it.
Oh yeah. I think she was shocked.
I know, but I was just like, she's also sad. She's missing, she really relies on her as well. And she, they've lived together for years. She probably sees her like as a little sister / daughter.
Yeah.
And, and she's leaving. And also, she was also very, very good natured about not having another slice of cake. I'd be well annoyed.
Well, even just the way she says it, she's like, oh, Sister Monica Joan decided to spare it the journey, like, oh my God, your diplomacy is just, get her to the UN. Like, this woman could negotiate world peace in like 3 hours. The scene that really killed me with Sister Julienne and Sheila was when Sheila was signing all the paperwork to like actually leave and like get her, like what she had to come in with back to her and everything. And when they got up and they hugged and she's, and they
put her head into her.
Yeah. And she said, like, oh, my sweet friend, like I'll dearly miss you and everything. And she wasn't really going anywhere, but like she was gonna be gone, like the person that Sister Bernadette was going to be kind of over, and now this new person was taking her place. And like
before that, there was
so
another
much.
Scene that killed me. This was just
was it Sister Evangelina with the shoes?
Yes, it was.
Oh,
yes, it bloody was.
Just really concerned that she was going to look outdated,
and she was just so upset for her. Also, can I just say as well, in Compline, in chapel, there were those bloody extra nuns again.
There were 6 nuns. I know. I noticed it myself because I was like, oh, Alex is going to talk about this. These mysterious 6 nuns.
Also, can I just go? Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, in terms of the old clothes and everything, because Sister Evangelina was talking about how, like there were so many, young nuns that came in, and they took the name Bernadette because of that movie that she references. But then it got me thinking, like the timeline, she says, oh, she came in 1948. So then Sheila's been in the, been a full nun for like maybe almost 10 years, something like that. And I thought to myself, okay, so if she's been a nun, and I've never thought about this ever before, but if she's been a nun and at Poplar for like a long time, then surely she would have known Dr. Turner's deceased wife, like his late wife, basically. And they reference her.
Been waiting for her to die, Jen.
Well, this is the thing. I'm like, it was just, I don't know why it never clicked, but like, they never ever mentioned that there was any, like, they always act like Dr. Turner's wife is just gone, like she's just, like a vapor or whatever.
What happened to her?
No. I presume cancer.
No, it's like,
I presume that.
Yeah, anything, because she was a young woman, but like, I was like, oh, like it didn't, I don't know, just something about the fact that like no mention is made of like Sheila even saying anything about like, oh, I knew, Barbara or whatever, and she was, nothing. I don't know, nothing. Like, I know they had a lot to pack in this episode, but anyways.
I need to, so Dr. Turner finds out that Sheila is leaving the sanatorium, and he insists on coming to collect her.
Well, hang on, just really quick though, before that, but obviously Timothy sends that dead butterfly, which was short to 0 last week, and she sends a letter back to Timothy. Like Dr. Turner had 0 chill when he was like, "What's in the letter?"
Did you say anything? Can you read it to me? What is it? What did she say?
Yeah, it was lols. Anyway, sorry, carry on, Bex.
So I was just going to say, so when Dr. Turner basically is rushing to go and collect her from the sanatorium because he wants to pick her up, he didn't want her to get public transport back. I just love the bit where Timothy just pops up in the car.
Oh, I know.
Dr. Turner had no idea where he was. He thought he was off cleaning some equipment. But also, thinking that Timothy was off cleaning equipment, he didn't think to tell Tim that he was going on this 60-mile round trip.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care about his son. He's not interested.
Well, also, I totally agree, but I also like the way Timothy was out the window like a dog.
I wrote that in my notes. That's so dangerous. Like, he was literally like, I'll keep a lookout. It's like, Tim, the windshield is literally clear. You can just see her through the windshield. But he was like, no,
well, hang on. This is the episode where Anthony was just bouncing around in the back of the van. Do you know what I mean? But no, just before that, though, the phone call between Sheila and Dr. Turner.
Oh, my
They didn't even get to say the first names to each other. And it was amazing. And he was like on his holidays cleaning medical stuff, Timothy, and they were on this thing. And it was like a really, oh my God, the tension there. Like, it was like this really like, hello, it's me. And he's like about to say his name, and then Dolly was about to go into labor and he had to leave. She's like, I understand. And then anyway, so they go off.
Wait. Let me about that phone call though. I just have to tell you the like, I mean, just amazing that Sheila was like, I'm literally gonna ghost this guy for 6 months while I sit in a sanatorium and like sleep and read books and like analyze dead bugs as kids send me and everything.
Keep him keen.
Yeah, and then she's literally, you know, gonna read all the letters but never reply, like totally just, you know, like leave him unread literally for like this whole time, and then she's gonna call him up and be like, oh, I'm going, you know, like, well, if you're still waiting for me, then I guess, you know. And I just was like, wow, Sheila, like for somebody who like is, you know, like quote doing, you know, like leaving all, I was just like, my God, girl, like you've really got some cheek to be able to like pull this off and like some real confidence in where you're going. Because
yeah, but I think she knew, because I think in the letter he was like, did I say too much? Did I say too little? So obviously he's like, I love you in the letter. So she's got confidence because she's got it in black and white.
Oh, well, Dr. Turner has
really,
no chill.
they
I mean,
know each other. I mean, they say themselves they know each other so little, but they literally know each other in a work capacity.
And in a Jeffrey Dahmer capacity as well, because he kissed her hand last week.
Don't be weird.
But anyway,
also,
so anyway.
How did they find her? How did they find her? She got on the wrong bus or something, and then they still found.
Oh my God!
Timothy out like a little dog, like a little detective dog, like a sniffer dog, because out of the car looking for her. And he's like, there's a woman in the wrong clothes, but I think it's her. And then Dr. Turner's like, stay in the car, Timothy. So Timothy's like sitting in the car. And he's like, what if you got lost? And she was like, I was lost, which is like this really prophetic thing that then she says, I got the wrong bus. I got the wrong bus. I was like, oh, I thought it was like this really prophetic
But
thing.
also, when he gets out the car and the first thing he does is feel her forehead in that
very tense sexual way.
I know. Well, also the other thing I just couldn't even, and this is something that always, like, I love scenes like this. I've watched every romantic comedy ever made on earth, but like these kind of details always drive my brain crazy. Is like he said in the phone call, it's a 30-mile drive from where you are to where I am, and she's walking with like her little 2-inch.
Yeah, but she was probably trying to walk back to the other bus stop where she got it from originally. That's what I would do. We
all saw the road she was on. There was nothing for ages. It's not like, around
there was a bus stop about 2 miles back, Jen. Calm down.
Oh my God. No, I'm sorry.
It's like that. Nowhere. It's like that trip you took through the Lake District, Jen, where they were like, the pub's just over the hill.
Yeah, and 10 miles later, we finally got there. So
I'm not gonna lie, kids. I was really, really, really annoyed at that. Yeah.
Okay, so
they told us there was a pub at the top of the hill, and there wasn't a pub at the top of the hill, and me and Jen had to climb a hill, and we were really annoyed. Why we thought there was a pub at the top of the hill, I'll never know. But
yeah.
So then they're like, "Oh, I hardly know you, but I'm completely certain, and I don't even know your name." And then they tell each other their names, and her name is really quite disappointing. Sorry to all the Sheilas out there, but I was expecting something really like pretty and Scottish, and she's like, "It's Sheila," and he's like, "I'm Patrick," and Timothy's just sat there like watching, weird. So lovely. It was gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean, these kind of scenes are always like, oh, did you guys? I really thought they were going to kiss, but they didn't.
Yeah, but I didn't think they were going to kiss. Like, I think she's quite chaste. She's a nun. She's just been a nun. Like, I think she's like, that's enough for now. I think it's a lot for her to do. She's just been a nun. She's been married to Jesus.
Well, okay. Then I'll just say this. I thought they were going to kiss in this episode, in the next scene, and
you would think that they would have kissed before he proposed to her.
I'm gonna say no still, because I'm all about the chasteness.
Fair. I'm here for chasteness, but honey, if you're gonna put a ring on it, I want a smooch. I mean, you got to get something out of that deal. Also, they barely held hands. It's like, I mean, the pent up feelings were like so intense. Like,
he has kissed a cut though, so. But no, do you know what else really annoyed me? Did Sister Bernadette? No, Sheila now. Did she ever mention the doctor to Juliet? Because I don't think she did.
Wait, mention having a crush on Dr. Turner, or like being
like she didn't even. Did she even mention that she was confused and maybe thought she had feelings for Doctor? Like, that's going to be a massive surprise.
No, she never says it explicitly. She always just says like, "Oh, I still have my faith, but I just feel like I'm being called to something different," basically.
Yeah, like she just wants different things from her life.
She confided in like her old pal for however many years. Like, you know what, actually, I fancy the doctor and his wife's dead now, so off we hop. Like,
Well,
do you know what I mean?
Here's the thing though, like I and this was actually something I thought about like in later like I won't spoil it, but like in later series of this show, like with other nuns who come along and kind of seem to give like a look here and there to like whatever. I mean, the thing is, okay, think about it. You're becoming a nun really young. Like, I mean, they all say like, oh, the young postulates and everything. You're thinking like girls between the age of like, you know, kind of college age, like 18 to 22-ish kind of vibes.
Yeah.
Like 18 to, I mean, and now nothing wrong with becoming a nun, but like it is a really huge commitment to say, okay, I'm going to live my whole life like doing this, like forsaking every like romantic relationship, like I mean, even, I mean, it's almost like going in the military, you know, like they say many times in the show, like it's not, you don't go where you want to go, you go where you're called or you're told to go as a sister, as a nun. And so it's like, that's a lot to sign up for at a young age. And like, I wonder, I mean, again, I don't want to overthink it, but like, I wonder if Sheila was like, well, listen, I made this commitment when I was, you know, this age and I didn't really have a family and like, I kind of didn't know what I was going to do. And then now like I'm 30 beep or whatever. And I, you know, like I've got a crush on this guy. He seems like he's really into it as well. And like, I feel like I could, you know, kind of make it work with him and a family, like, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, I want that, you know,
Yeah.
like, and like, I think it would be hard to just say that like, yeah, I haven't lost any of my faith, but I want to do something different. I don't want to like forsake all of these life experiences for, you know, the nun lifestyle, you know?
Yeah, but I get that. But still, like, my sister Julianne knows him. She's very much works with him every day. You think she'd say, like, do you know what, actually, I think Dr. Turner and me, we've got something.
Well, but I mean, the thing is, I mean, I don't remember because I haven't watched it in a minute, but like, I think the next episode is a Christmas episode, and I think they just go straight to getting married, like,
yeah, they do.
in the next episode, and everyone's just
And
like,
no
oh, you know, like, no one, I don't think really comments on it.
No,
well, I just think they maybe should have had a scene where Sister Julianne was like, what, who is it? And she's like, Patrick. She's like, ah.
And then she's like, wait, that guy? She's like, that guy, the guy who literally like is bumbling around town, can't take care of his kid, like overbooks himself and is literally eating cold noodles every night for dinner. That guy. That's
Can we just talk about the proposal though in the community hall kitchen where they got really hot and heavy over boilers?
Well, wait, sorry, Bex, you need to be allowed to say something about this because I think we both just totally railroaded you for like the last 10 minutes. Like, go, you should give us your opinions on this. I mean, I maybe you don't want to, maybe you don't, I don't want to push you, but I'm just saying, like, I feel like I've been like interrupting so much in this episode.
Well, I mean, I just thought it was very quick.
It was, but it was cute. The please will you marry my dad, wasn't it?
Can I just tell you, I had such a laugh though, because when I was watching it and he goes, oh, he's like, I've got something for you. She's like, oh, Patrick. Also, by the way, the lulls that I had when she like parted that like curtain and everything, and she was still just wearing like a brown tweed suit, and he was like, like looking at her like she had on the most like gorgeous, like he was like, you know, like the reveal scene in every movie where a girl comes down and she's like been transformed and she looks so gorgeous, so hot, whatever, and like the guy is like, wow, like that's I just
But
thought it was
he
so
won't
funny.
have seen her hair or anything, will he?
No, nothing. But then what was so funny was that like he's like, oh, he's like, I've got something for you, and he hands her this little box, and she's like,
But it's like
oh.
she's expecting it as well.
She was totally expecting it. Yeah. But she starts to open it, and then it's a piece of paper, and it says, "Will you marry my dad?" Which is so freaking cute.
Yeah, but I thought it might be a dead.
That's exactly. That's exactly. Can you imagine if she'd opened that and she was expecting a diamond ring and she gets a dead moth and she's like, I've totally misjudged this situation. I think I'm going to go back to the sanitarium for another week or two while I reconsider my choices.
Oh, it's so sweet though. And like, I know like the community hall where they do all the, you know, look at women's vaginas all day. Like it's not the most romantic one, but it was so romantic because obviously that's where they shared like their frisons and stuff. And I just thought it was so lovely. And the way that he involved Timothy, but Timothy wasn't actually there again.
No one knows.
He was too busy cleaning up the back room. Yeah, he couldn't be there for that proposal.
Well, he left him on the road and he was like, make your own way home, Timothy. Me and your future mum are going home like this. But yeah, there was so much to unpack, and obviously it was the end of season, so we've got the Christmas special next, and it was so amazing.
Special.
Oh, love it.
What'd you say, Bex?
Just that I love a Christmas special.
Oh, I know, they're so good.
Right, speaking of love, go on.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, I know I've like roasted these two, but like I absolutely love the scene where they got engaged, and when he put that ring on her finger, and then he, I know I said I wanted like a real kiss, but like when he took her hand and kissed her hand and like just gave her that loving look, like it was really beautiful.
It was. On that note, heroes and zeros of the week, ladies and gentlemen. No gentlemen here. I don't know why I said that, ladies. Who's going first?
Mine's quite niche.
Go on, then you go first.
So my hero is Jane at the nightclub.
Oh, mine was.
Oh, sorry, but just loving life, and just like she's dancing with Trixie, but also the bit where they go in and Jenny Lee's unsure because she's wearing slacks on a night out.
Oh.
And Jane says she's been reading an article in Woman's Own, and that's why she's wearing a polo neck.
I've got the exact quote. I love it.
And they say, well, Princess Margaret's wearing slacks out to events nowadays,
But it was just how excited Jane was.
I know, and the fact that she's reading Women's Own and she's just getting into the, do you know what I mean? Like, she's not had that life before, and I just loved it.
Yeah, but also she looked amazing.
Well, and let's not forget, this is the same Jane who didn't want to go to a dance like just a few months ago because she was too afraid. And now she's like bombing into that nightclub, like,
yeah,
just do
We're here for it. We're here for the Jane confidence. That's Reverend Appleby Thornton's loving words as well.
That's where, yeah.
And then my zero is Alex polo neck cardigan combination.
Yeah, I'm with you. That was awful. And it's awful. And his face when he was playing the bass when he first came in, it was the most seedy thing I've ever seen. Like, you can't see what I'm doing, but he's like, ding, 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 ding. It was awful.
Well, you know what? He would normally be my type, but I just kept on looking at Alec and being like, do I think he's handsome or do I not think he's handsome? Like, I just couldn't.
Seedy smile.
Yeah, I couldn't decide either. It was like no offense to the actor, because
I will say, spoiler alert, she does carry on seeing him, and he does get like more. He just get better as time goes on. I think it was just that episode. He was smiling a bit too much, a bit stiff. Oh no. Jen, on to you.
Oh my gosh, heroes and zeros. Oh, you know what? I know we always say it. These episodes have so much, but this episode just absolutely blew me out of the water. Okay, zero first. Peter leaving the toilet seat up. Just don't do that. Just don't do it. Yeah. I mean, like, listen.
I've fallen into a toilet bowl more than once, and it's not.
And when you're in a house full of women and you're the only guy, like, come on, my dude.
Especially nuns, especially old nuns.
Yeah, like, listen, like, one of them could have hurt themselves. Like, just no. Hero, truly so many heroes in this one, but I will say this, I gotta give it to Jenny, but it's really all of the women when they take care of Chummy when she goes into labor with like such joy, such excitement for her. It's like they all think of it like, that they're like honorary like aunties and grandmas and everything like that. It was so sweet. And then when she goes to the hospital, and when Sister Evangelina wanted to ride in the ambulance, and then when Sister Evangelina says the thing about, oh, I never knew how families felt when they were in this kind of situation, but now I do, which just shows how strong Evangelina feels for her and for Peter and everything. And then when Jenny says the line, like, no, like, her family are all in this room, like, these are like, we're the people that need to know what's going on, and we do. I just like,
also
it just really choked me up.
Also, when Chummy first goes into labor, it's all the midwives that are looking after her, and then when shit gets serious, that's when the nuns come in. It's like they've let the girls get involved, and now we need to step in.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, just love that community of women.
Right, my hero is not a woman, it is Fred for his proximity. It's proximity nurse notes. I just thought it was really good though, because obviously he does have a really gorgeous relationship with his daughters, even though obviously his wife got killed in the Blitz, and it was just really awful, but he still has this gorgeous relationship, even though they lived really far apart from him and stuff, but he takes care of his grandchild, which in 1950s is very unheard of. He does weird stuff, but fair enough, we'll forgive him. So he is my hero of the week. My zero of the week, despite this gorgeous proposal and everything like that, it's going to be Dr. Turner for the way he treats his only son. Like, like, yeah, I'm just going to go off and find the love of my life. Hang on, my son's what? He's cleaning a load of equipment, like, you know, and then he's like shouting at me in the car. Yeah, and then he's also like includes him in the proposal, but also doesn't include him in the proposal because he gets him to basically write this down, Timothy, draw this, Timothy, and then bye, Timothy. So yeah, he's my zero of the week. But what an episode, ladies! What an episode!
Oh my God, Timothy is like very Cinderella vibes, like in this episode. You know, he's like constantly having to like sweep, clean, do the washing up, you know, cook the meals and everything. Like,
no wonder he's like writing to anyone to be his mum. He's like, come and live with me, so I don't have to do everything.
Timothy is so ready. I mean, yeah, like talk about, I mean, yeah, oh my gosh.
So that was series 2, episode 8. Please join us next time for the Christmas special. We love a Christmas special. So yeah, if you've got any suggestions or anything, we've had so many lovely comments. I just want to say a shout out to everyone who's messaging us saying how much you love it, because that is honestly, I can't tell you, we never ever thought we'd even get one. So
oh my gosh, the most beautiful listeners in the world. Like everybody is just such a sweet, beautiful person that writes us a comment that, you know, decides to download and listen.
And they say they like to listen, and we're like, why? We're knobheads. But,
that's our charm. That's our charm. Oh, we really and also we do really appreciate it. And just to say, we are going to be doing the Christmas special, and then a recap of the whole season, and then we will be working on and then we'll do the episode where we kind of explain some of these, you know, transatlantic differences in terms and things like that. So
yeah, because sometimes Google doesn't give you everything. It was actually a suggestion by 2 of our listeners, but actually also Google doesn't always give you the real, because obviously I'm from the north. Becky is technically from the north, but she does live down south. Has lived down south for a long time, so there will be differences between us as well. So it'd be quite interesting, you know. So that'll be a good. But again, that was not a shout out to the people who actually suggested that. It was not us. But what a brilliant idea!
A great idea, and there's still time to get those questions in. So if there's terms or things you've heard them say on the show that you don't know what it is, or you're not sure, whatever, what the context is, or even if it's just a historical thing that we don't necessarily know in our modern world, but we could find out and give you some context, we would love to do it.
As long as no one knows about the Boer War.
Just to be honest, we can do our research as a podcast.
There's a full Boer War episode coming. I'm going to do 45 minutes on it, and it's going to be amazing.
Again, I call it the Boer War, so there we go. Like feather boas, I don't know.
I still don't even know where it is. I don't know where the war took place. I don't know.
None of us do. We're just making ourselves look triply stupid. Anyway,
South Africa, I do know.
Oh, okay. There we go. Well done, Bex.
Oh, South Africa. Okay.
Anyway, email us at callthemidwifepodcasts@gmail.com. No, not Call the Midwife. It's Recall the Midwife.
Recall the Midwife.
And then follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. You'll find us. That's Recall the Midwife on Facebook. It's all Recall the Mid-Pod, Recall the Midwife. So yeah, follow us on all social media.
All of this is in our show notes as well. So on any platform you're listening, you can go to the show notes for this episode and see all of that. And I'm sure it will be much more accurate than what we've actually verbally told you. So
it very much will be. But yeah, thank you so much for listening, and hopefully you'll join us next week. And thank you very much, and bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.